Welcome to Chatterbox Besties with Brenda and Ricky. We're two besties sharing news, gift ideas, and lifestyle hacks to turn ordinary days into a 10 plus. If you're listening for the first time, we want to welcome you. We're so happy to have you join us. Definitely go to our show, whether you're on Spotify or Apple or YouTube, and hit follow so you're always alerted to the next new episode. And so more people like you can join us. And thank you all for listening to our podcast and being part of our little bestie circle. And today we are so excited to have a phenomenal guest. She's a physician who's an expert on Healthspan versus Lifespan. And if you know what the differences are. But if you don't, you will find out. And you're going to find so many nuggets in this conversation from beginning to end. And honestly, you're going to be taking notes, but if you don't, no worries. Everything will be in the show notes. And before we get started, though, our tradition is to catch up. And so, Ricky, I want you to tell us what you've been up to. I know you've had some milestone celebrations you have to share with us.
We did. I keep getting younger, but the kids keep getting older. That must be the longevity secret, right?
Love that.
Anyway, my grandson just celebrated his bar mitzvah, and it was
Congrats.
really amazing. So, sorry,
Congratulations.
that's my dog in the background. So just to keep it friendly. Anyway, it was very special. And I think what is even more special is just the congregation of all the family and friends in one spot. And so you get to realize how wonderful really life is, just to celebrate with people that you love and have had a lot of history with. So that's been me. And I know you just went to Banff, one of my favorite places in the world, and you had a celebration also. So tell us about it, Brenda.
Well, we did, and it was amazing. And actually, you know me, I had to have family t-shirts made. And so I put my t-shirt on at the last minute. Naomi, since you're a few minutes behind, I had time to Holland's Elevation Celebration. This is my attempt at Lake Louise. Thank you very much.
Nice,
So,
nice.
yeah, we just had such a great time. And talk about a healthy and beautiful environment. It was amazing. And I just learned that Banff National Park was ranked as the top overall destination in the world on National Geographic's list of best of the world. Understandably so, and also recognized as one of the most beautiful places in the world by Architectural Digest. So if you have not been to that part of Canada, I mean, it is absolutely stunning. And if you see the pictures, that's not even a tenth of the beauty. I mean, those lakes, the mountains, the color, it's just so incredible. And you do encounter animals, bears, elks the size of a giraffe, like porcupines. And luckily, we actually had guides for most of our hikes, which is actually kind of important because we didn't realize you kind of have to carry bear spray no matter what kind of hike you go on. And so, yeah, we didn't have any bear spray. I don't even know how you get that, but they all had bear spray. They warned us if we go on our own, get the bear spray. I don't know if you had that advice too, Ricky, when you were there.
We didn't see any animals when we were there because we were there in September, so it must be a totally different thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It was really something. And one of the things I have to mention, we did this super cool hike on that kind of culminated on Moraine Lake. And I don't know if either of you have ever kind of signed your family up for something, but you didn't really tell them because if you told them in advance, they'd probably nix it. So this like hike was from 6 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. I know my husband would be like, yeah, I'm not doing that. But we signed up for it. We did it. And it was amazing. They gave us our little backpacks with all the things we needed, like blankets, binoculars, like all the things. We climbed up to this one area that had the most magnificent sunset ever. So gorgeous, if you can even imagine, with the lakes and the mountains reflecting on the lakes. And then we went a little bit higher and we all kind of got set up, sort of like we were camping and just enjoying the beauty and walking around all the rocky paths. And it's starting to get kind of chilly. And I'm kind of like, well, okay, so yeah, I kind of see it. It's getting dark now. And, you know, the guide is like super excited for all of us. And he's like, just kind of relax and take it all in, which we did. And suddenly at midnight, like I got it. It was like the money shot. A billion stars showed up in the skies. I have never seen so many stars in my entire life. He had the iPads out for like the constellations. We had the tripods out. You didn't even need to do anything special with your phone. It was spectacular. And then, of course, being the mom, I was like, wait, it's pitch black and now we have to climb down in the dark. I was a little freaking out. And I saw that they were passing around these headbands with giant, like coal miners light in front. And I was like, oh, that's how we're doing it. And Ricky, what do you think I thought of?
You thought of our hats with the flashlights on top that we had in our first episode.
Yeah. So if you don't know, during the holidays, we share our favorite gifts. And one of the items we had was this lighted beanie, which nobody had ever heard of those back then. It was probably like a year and a half ago. And we were like, should we put that on there? Because I mean, it's kind of a good, useful thing for like walking the dog or if you need a hands-free, like whatever. So yeah, I was like, oh my God, Ricky needs to be here. She would be so impressed. So impressed.
Yeah, no, it's very funny. It's very
Yeah,
funny.
but anyway, it was spectacular and it's such an eco-friendly place. Just minimal plastic, great recycling, the way they care for the parks. There's no litter anywhere. Like people really respect the area. I mean, it's really spectacular. And I want to actually, Ricky, you told me something the other day, which is kind of an eco-friendly way to use strawberries. So
Oh
I
my,
think you should share it with our listeners
I
because
can't
I
believe
know
you're
it's a
bringing
fun
this
tip.
up. I've
So
been in the
curious.
I've been in the kitchen lately and I read something where the tops of strawberries have a lot of nutrients and we always throw them out. So what you do is you save the tops of strawberries and you boil them in water and it makes like a strawberry syrup. And you can add honey, you can add it to lemonade, you can make syrups, you can do everything. And it's actually really delicious. So and then I read another one where you take the tops of strawberries and you put them on top of sugar. And then you can really make a thick syrup or whatever sweetener you want.
Hmm.
And it said it only takes 2 days, but I wanted more liquid. So I left it in for like a week and it turned into alcohol.
So you're creating your own
Wow.
distillery in your kitchen.
So depending on what you're looking for, you can do it one of two ways.
I love it.
But it was like
Nice.
surprise. So anyway, that was my experience with strawberry tops.
Oh my God, that is so crazy. So the only other thing that I want to share, because you know me, I'm like a total Swiftie and all roads sort of lead to Taylor Swift these days. Just have to share a few things she's been involved in because I just love her so much and everything she does, I'm just like, you're just brilliant. So first thing, which is kind of cute, I don't know if any of you are Knicks followers or watch basketball, but the game before they won was absolutely unbelievable. They were down like the entire game and the last quarter, and basically they won in the last second. So Taylor Swift was there with a couple of her besties, you know, of course, on the floor, but they had these cutest t-shirts. They had t-shirts they got from Michael's, and they printed these really cute punny, like kind of names on there. So she had like Stevie Nicks, KNICKS, and her friend had like Nicole Kidman, so KNICOLE. I mean, just so cute. And she was like, they were like the cheerleaders on the floor. You could see them even when the players were playing, you could just see them jumping up and down. And I just love that with all of her success, she can still be like super down to earth, have fun with her friends. You know, of course, there are bodyguards all around, but like she does, she doesn't notice anymore. But I love that. And then here's the thing: the very next day, she was recognized by the Songwriters Hall of Fame. She's the very
Okay.
youngest songwriter to achieve this award, and which is understandable because she's just so brilliant. And they asked her, "Who do you want to present this award to you?" And she said Steven Spielberg, and which he did. And the reason this is so interesting to me, he's directed so many genres of movies, right? From fantasy to warfare to sci-fi. And she said growing up, she was so kind of enamored with that's what sort of kept her continued for her to feel comfortable to evolve who she was as a songwriter. So I just thought that was a really interesting insight, and how even people you don't know can like inspire you in so many different ways. So I absolutely loved that. And then the final item, and she's been promoting it, which nobody really knew till the very last minute. The following day, she released that Toy Story 5 is coming out, and she wrote a song, a new song for that movie. And her relationship with that whole movie series, which I think all of us know, and if you have kids, like grew up with watching with your kids, it's such an emotional kind of series of films. And so I'm really excited. I guess they kept the movie under wraps that her song was going to be in it till the very last minute. So they created a decoy of the movie. And then, kind of after the fact, all these Easter eggs kept popping up. Like the diehard Swifties like completely analyzed her to death. And I guess there was Toy Story even put out a thing TS as because Toy Story Taylor Swift, like who made that comparison, right? So pretty cute and pretty fun. And the movie is actually released today, the day we're recording. So I'm definitely going to drag my husband to go see that. So anyway, kind of enough of our little updates and chatter. Today's episode is one that we know so many of us really need right now, because we're diving into a topic that's really everywhere, and that's longevity. And beyond the buzzword and all the biohacking trends, what really actually helps us live longer and feel better? And our phenomenal guest today is going to help us with that very question. Ricky, why don't you introduce her properly?
So I'm going to read her paragraph and then I'm going to just add my own commentary at the end. But Dr. Naomi Parrella is a physician, double board certified in family and obesity medicine. She spent her career helping other people understand what's really driving their weight, body composition, energy, and metabolic health, including why the strategies that used to work can stop working. Been there, done that. And she built and scaled Rush University's weight and lifestyle medicine program from a single patient to 8 clinics. Nothing short of amazing, I have to add. She today is Chief Medical Officer of Zero Longevity Science, creator of the world's first fasting app. She grew up in Japan. She's home to some of the longest living people. She brings an East meets West to weight, aging, vitality, helping people repair, heal, thrive. So they don't just live longer, they live better. And having personally experienced her magic, I will tell you, there was never a session that I went that I didn't feel that my feet were not touching the ground, because she can make everything palatable, easy to use, easy to understand, and make you feel like your very, very best self. So I am so excited to introduce her, and she's absolutely magical. And by the end of this, you will absolutely understand and join my fan club. And welcome, welcome, Dr. Naomi. So
I love
there you
it.
go.
Oh my gosh. Where to go from there? Thanks so
Oh
much,
my
Ricky.
gosh.
It's all
Oh my
true.
gosh.
It's all
What an
true.
honor and privilege to be here and also to know both of you. Yeah.
Well,
So
we're
Brenda,
so
take it away.
yes, we're so excited. And I have to say, what's interesting is Dr. Perella asks a different question than most. She asks not just what's wrong, but what's getting in the way of the life you actually want. And we're talking with Dr. Perella about what the research really says about aging well, and what's the truth about intermittent fasting, why metabolic health matters so much more than we realize, and the surprisingly simple habits that really might have the biggest impact on our future health. And what does it really mean to increase not just your lifespan, but your health span? So let's get into it. Welcome again. We're so happy to have you here. So why don't you start with, I know you're part of this zero longevity, that's sort of like this newer chapter in your life. What is zero longevity? Yeah. Let's start with that.
Yeah, sure. So this is the world's first fasting app. So when intermittent fasting sort of started taking off, this was it. And our founder, Mike Mazer, has this really amazing story that he basically stumbled upon fasting in his fight for his life with a history of cancer, when he was diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma. And what's really powerful is he took the initiative to figure out what are all the things he can do outside of the medical treatments that, he pursued and so on. What could he do to optimize his outcomes? And along the way, he discovered fasting was was part of his story. And so he started this company as a way to spread the message and to help people achieve their best health through whatever means they need, but that he knew fasting was a piece of it and that he thought this could help. So it started, with really a fight for life and to have a better life. And so I just love that origin story. And, one of the other things that I really appreciated was not only that, it's actually based on science. So there's a lot of influencers, there's a lot of apps, and they, it'll be somebody who says, "Oh, this might be a good idea. Let's just create it." And then they, pitch some product. He came at it from the angle of, I want to take care of people and show them what's possible. And here is a way that worked for me. And here's a tool that will make that easier. And then he made sure that every step along the way, it's based in the science. It's based on, approval from a physician, like understanding really the foundations. And so rather than going for a quick, oh, this is really, just top of the line, we're a timer or whatever. He really thought about it and has designed in that direction. So originally it was a fasting app, and it helped you learn how to do intermittent fasting before it was really trending, and it helped you do it well. And now it's sort of morphed because the conversations have changed. People have evolved and gotten smarter. They want more information, and we want to support them because fasting is only part of the whole picture of health. There's also the feeding component and all the other pieces. So, he and I got to start, working together. I came in because I had been using the Zero app with many of my patients.
Okay.
It was actually a patient who taught me about the Zero app when it was brand new. And then, we brought it into the clinic and started sharing it with some of our patients, and voila, paths crossed.
I love that. So that's really how so because you heard about that, is that what kind of sparked, or maybe you already had an interest in longevity and metabolic health? How did that sort of come about for you?
Yeah. So I've never really called it longevity.
Okay.
I because it was just sort of how I grew up. So growing up in Japan, it was really about how to stay well, not just for yourself, but actually so you're not a burden to other people or to society, right? Like, it's very expensive to be, having a lot of health issues, and it takes up a lot of energy that you want to do other things with. So, so I grew up already with the perspective of it's your responsibility to stay healthy and well as much as possible. It's not something that you take for granted. You have to work at it. Sometimes it's hard and not fun, but that's what you do.
Excellent.
So I came at it from that angle. And so going into medical school and doing my training and all of the things, the one piece that I really, really wanted to add was this component about thinking about, we're not, as in medical school, you're taught to look for problems, look for what's wrong with somebody, and then try to solve it for them, right? And maybe they help along the way. But really, it's a little bit different perspective. That's not how I've thought about taking care of people, right? So I've sort of morphed into the longevity world because that's what I've been doing before it was a thing. But I think the big picture is a different perspective. So I come at all health as your body is trying its best to heal, repair, and thrive.
Love that.
And so if you're not doing that, there's something in the way, right? You get a cold, your body automatically is going to start fighting that infection. You don't have to do anything special about it. You can impair it, but really your body's doing its best to just take care of you and get better as fast as possible. And that's what it's going to try to do in other areas of your life as well.
Love it.
So kind of interesting, having been one of your patients, a couple things that you did that I thought were really incredible, very different than other doctors. One of your questions was, how can I help you? And the second that you really taught me was that our bodies are really unbelievably efficient and we kind of get in the way and do all this stuff.
Yeah.
But if we just let it do what it's supposed to do, it's amazing how it could help. So my question is, how does zero combine technology with behavior change? Does it enhance behavior?
Yeah, actually, we do some research on our data and we do surveys, right? And one of the things that we found is that people actually do lose more weight, for example, when they use the app. And there's two versions of our app, and there's the paid and the free version. And with the paid version, they have a significantly much more likelihood of achieving their goals. And why is that?
I don't know.
It's because you're making that commitment, you're honoring it and you're respecting it enough that you're willing to put your skin in it, right? And so
Yeah,
if you pay for something, you're more likely to
right.
engage with it and do the things. So you're saying, I trust that I'm going to make an effort here and you're going to help me do that. So the way, we think about it is really we're like your sidekick, right? We're
Yeah,
here to help support you. And the biggest challenge I had in, practice, and I continue to have, is what happens in between our appointment times, right? Like
right.
there's a
Sure.
Of
lot of time
course.
in there. And
Mm-hmm.
when there's a lot of, thousands, millions of decisions that occur in the middle of that time from appointment to appointment. So everybody always walks out the door like, I'm going to do all these things. Like,
Right.
I'm inspired. This is it. It's
Yes,
time now, right? We've all been there, right? Where you're like, I'm on a new
all of
health kick.
us. Yes, for sure.
And that's great. And for some people, it lasts a pretty good time. Many of us, it's like a couple days, maybe even a couple hours, right? Like it's not weeks, months, years. And so that's the stuff that technology has the ability to step into.
Yes,
And when
absolutely.
it's based on experience from clinicians and people who've worked with thousands of people and tens of thousands of people, now you're starting to get the wisdom together with technology available to millions and millions of people
Mm-hmm.
at any point that they need a touch point, right? It's like having a sponsor, it's like having a coach, it's like having a
Of
teacher, it's like
course.
having a
Yeah.
parent, it's having your best friend, your bestie, right? So that's the way that works, right? It's making that commitment to yourself and then getting the touch points when you need them.
Love it. I love that. So
So
let's like,
what?
oh, go ahead. I
Okay.
wanted to get into the sort of the science of it. Like,
Mhm.
what do you think, is the actual connection between like fasting, metabolic health, and aging?
That's a great question. So, fasting, metabolic health, and aging. Well, metabolic health, metabolism is how your body uses fuel and
Okay.
creates energy for your body. So, if you don't have a metabolism, like you'd be dead, right? So, the fact that we're alive is because our body can use fuel to create energy. And so we can repair cells, we can do things, we can laugh, we can think, we can play with each other, all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's metabolism. Aging is has many definitions. It can be just time passing.
Sure.
It can be that there's wear and tear. It can be that you're getting wiser. But it depends on how you're looking at it. So the human body, yes, anything that keeps getting used and continuously stressed is going to change over time. Humans are no different.
Mm-hmm.
So we change over time. And the question is, are you setting it up so that you're allowing that repair because your body is always trying to heal, repair, and thrive? Are
Mm-hmm.
you setting it up so that repair is going to make you better, stronger? And some people do that very deliberately. An example would be bodybuilders, right? They say, I want bigger muscles. I'm going to lift weights, tear them
Yeah.
down, get really sore, work really hard, sweat up, a lot. And then I'm going to feed myself the protein that I need. I'm going to hydrate. I'm going to get some good rest. And I'm going to do the things that I need to do in between. And then when I come back to the gym again, my muscles are a little bigger and stronger. I can lift a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more and do a little bit more, right? So you're getting better from putting the body under stress. But the key is what happens in between. It's not the tear down that worked, it's the recovery that makes a person better,
So is the
stronger.
fasting part of the recovery? Maybe you can explain that a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So the fasting is, so there's two parts to fasting, right? The first part of fasting is really about hormones settling down, your body digesting, sort of doing what it needs to do, creating the repair setup. That's part of it. Then you're going to have, depending on how long you fast. So if it's overnight, your gut is actually cleaning house, right? It starts doing the movements after digestion is complete, before you put anything else in. It's now clearing house. The immune system is
Okay.
regulating. There's all sorts of metabolic processes going on. Your brain is cleaning out. And that's why sleep is so important. In fasting while we're overnight sleeping, that's super important too,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So those are all things that are part of the fasting component. And so
Okay.
fasting is any time you're giving your gut rest. It's putting your gut in this sort of Zen state. And then your
Okay.
body gets a chance to do what it needs to do without new inputs through your gut.
I love that. I love that. Tell us a little bit about your perspective on the GLPs, which is like all the rage. And um, are there daily habits that matter more than GLPs? I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, everybody's looking for a quick fix, and that's why they're
Yeah.
so successful, kind of like Amazon, right? They want it right away. They want to lose weight right away. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, I think we don't give people enough credit. Yes, you want these solutions right away. But when you tell people what would allow long-term better success,
Mm-hmm.
they will choose that most of the
True.
time.
Yeah.
Right. So again, I think we often say, oh, everyone just wants a pill or a shot. It's actually not true. And I've seen that in my practice. People are a lot smarter and
Yes.
have much more depth than that. So first of all, GLP-1s are amazing for so many reasons. But one of the things they've done is they've proven to individuals and the world that weight and excess weight is not a discipline problem. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a willpower issue. It's not, are you trying hard enough? That's not it. So I think that's a huge benefit. But it's done for individuals who are using it with the appropriate wraparound care, including monitoring, getting adequate protein, staying hydrated, understanding which foods you do need to prioritize so that you can make sure you get the benefits and you don't just lose all your muscle,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot there. It's a very powerful medication. So it's wonderful that we have it. It's like the invention of antibiotics. It changes the game completely. The challenges are people doing the things that are necessary to protect all the other functions and longevity organs and parts of our life so that you get the benefits without
Mm-hmm.
the harm. Because it's so powerful, it can do both.
Right. Love that. Love that. So do you think that let's talk about the daily habits that you think
Yeah.
so matter more than the GLPs, expensive supplements, these biohacking gadgets, etc.
All right. So here's what I'll say. These matter whether you're on GLP-1s or not.
Okay.
Okay. So
Love it.
they're really important for everybody. Number one is movement, not just like exercise, but interrupting sitting. It's really, really important for the body to get movement. When we move, it signals to the brainstem, the survival part of the brain, that your body needs to continue to repair and heal so that you can
Mm-hmm.
go do things. Any living being that stops moving or nature, that's a signal decay, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the body starts to shut things down. It doesn't want to spend energy on something that's not necessary. So if you're not moving, that's a big signal. So the
Right.
number one most important thing, interrupt sitting and sedentariness and move. Second would be protein. You have
Okay.
to have enough protein at any one time to, when you have protein, that it would stimulate what we call muscle protein synthesis, meaning the rebuilding of muscle.
Okay.
So your body's always breaking that down. And to rebuild it as we get older, we need more protein at any one time that we're eating. So again, having a couple of eggs, maybe that's 10 to 14 grams of protein, that's not cutting it. You'd have to have like 25, 30 grams of protein, right? To get your body to get
Right.
enough protein at that time that you're regenerating and maintaining
Mm-hmm.
muscle. So protein would be number two. Number three would be sleep.
Yeah.
That's the one that a lot of people take for granted, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah,
Like,
Right.
yeah, I mean, I'm totally, this is my downfall also. If I get stuck reading something or looking at something or talking to someone or going out, I don't want to go to bed, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to
Yeah. You're
keep
trying to
having
fit it all
fun.
in. You're trying to be productive, whatever it is you're working
Right.
on. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Right. And so, I
Love
use
that.
the excuse for myself that I'm a night owl, but it's actually, I just like to keep doing more things and, hanging out
Of
more. So,
course. Of
so,
course.
so problems, but that is actually one of the most important things. And it's an activity that's been conserved through all animals, through all of evolution, right? All animals have sleep time.
Yes. Love it.
So we know how important that is. So if you've got those three and you're staying hydrated, you're pretty much getting the basics. Now, if you want to add extra boosts and what I would call the longevity hack, it's all around relationships with people,
Love that.
having
Yeah.
connection, love, belonging, joy, laughing with people, right? Sharing experiences with another. Like that is the magic. And you two, just listening to you two at the beginning of this conversation, right? It's the sharing. It might not even seem like an important conversation, but we learned through COVID, the water cooler conversations are actually what's important for retention at at a company,
Totally.
right?
Totally agree. Yep.
So it's all of these connections that you matter, that I care about you, that, we're sharing information. This is why social media takes off too. It's not just a dopamine hit. It's like
Yeah.
trying to connect.
Yes. Totally agree.
Two questions. Do you need
Mhm.
protein at every meal? And how much protein? Well, there's going to be three questions. How much do you need protein
You
at
see, I get derailed. So, okay.
Here we
Do you need
go.
protein at every meal? How much protein? And is all protein created equal? Because there's protein additives in like potato chips now. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So just a quick answer is fine. But
Protein at every meal. That's a complex answer, actually, but I'm going to say generally, yes.
okay.
You want to eat protein every time you eat. If you're on a GLP-1, you have to eat protein first because you're going to get full too fast. So that would be the quickie
Right.
answer for that. Yeah. What was the second question? I've already forgotten. Was it how
I
much?
remember the third, how much protein and is all protein created equal?
And then, yep. So how much protein? So it's actually, this is interesting. This is based on Don Layman's research um, out of the University of Illinois. And what he found was as we get older, we have to have a certain amount of an essential amino acid, meaning a building block of protein, a specific one.
Yeah.
You have to have a certain amount of it to trigger muscle protein synthesis as we get older. That's 2.5 to 3 grams. And as we get older, like 3 to 4 grams. To get that, you have to eat roughly about 25 to 30 grams of real food protein to get that level of leucine at a meal that would allow your body to get the signal to rebuild muscle. Okay, so it's sort of,
Makes sense.
so that's actually like you have to work at that, right? That takes effort. You
Yeah.
have to plan for it. Are all protein sources the same? No, they're not. So again, essential amino acids means your body requires it to be alive and to thrive. So, and amino acids make protein. Okay. So there's 9 that your body cannot make. You have to eat them. That's why they're called essential. Those amino acids that your body cannot make and that you have to eat them, you have to get all of them to have all the building blocks your body needs so that it can build cells, so that you can build a palace instead of a hut, right?
Love that.
Because if you don't have all the different
That's
ingredients,
amazing.
you're going to have a hut. Okay. So to do that, you have to have all those essential amino acids. A food that has that is called a complete protein. A complete protein means it has all the essential amino acids so that your body has everything it needs. So plant-based proteins and animal-based proteins are different. Plant-based proteins, unless you're having soy or quinoa, you're really not getting a complete protein. So you usually have to have a grain and a legume to get
Okay.
all of the essential amino acids. So it requires eating a little bit more and more diverse plant-based proteins to get everything you need. Animal-based proteins have more leucine that triggers muscle protein synthesis. So if you have animal-based proteins, you're going to get a complete protein when you eat that.
Oh, good
Okay.
to know.
That's
I'm not
great.
eating
That's
enough.
great. Yeah, I know. So let's talk about fasting a little bit more. So is fasting
Sure.
beneficial for everyone? And are there people who should approach it differently? Tell us what you think about that.
Yeah, fasting. So let's be clear, there's lots of different ways to fast.
Yeah.
So everybody should be fasting overnight. You should not have to, in the middle of the night, wake up to eat, right?
Yeah.
That's, and even if you sleep during the day, right? You should have a period of 12 hours in your life that you do not eat. The only time you need to eat in those 12 hours, whatever 12 hour, whichever part of the day or night you put that into, the only time you need to do that is when you're trying to boost the caloric intake and signal to your body to grow. So,
Oh,
babies, for example, right? So,
interesting.
if you do not want to be doing that, growing fat cells overnight, for example, then don't eat in the middle of the night. So, everybody can benefit from that. Now,
Well,
if somebody is watching the clock and they're like super hungry and they're suppressing that, then they have some work they have to do before they can achieve an easy 12-hour fast overnight. And that would be a sign of metabolic inflexibility or dysfunction or rapid aging. And that would be something
huh.
that would be important to talk to an expert that can help in that process. But overall, most people should be able to do the 12 hours unless they're frail and needing to eat more or
Okay.
they're growing.
Interesting. Well,
Then you've got
yeah.
longer fasts, is probably what
Okay.
you're asking
Yeah,
about,
yeah, yeah.
right? Longer fasts, not everybody should be doing longer fasts. If it starts feeling like it's making you more rigid and fixated on the fasting window and not on
Okay.
living your life, then it's starting to become a problem. If you're pregnant or nursing, if you are on medications that affect your blood sugar or your blood pressure, or you have a history of an eating disorder or food insecurity, you may want to really talk with a health expert who has experience with fasting protocols to be able to help understand if this is right for you.
Yeah.
It's likely not a great idea otherwise.
Interesting.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. That is so interesting. So let's talk about, let's say for you, like what does a
Yeah.
healthy day realistically look like for you? You know, when you're working, life gets so busy, everybody's got so many things on their plate. What's a healthy day for you?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. And it totally depends on the stage of life and the stressors in my life and how I've been
Yeah.
sleeping and so on. So I think, I have always, when I work with leaders or high performers who have to really be at the top of their game,
Yeah.
the thing that I think it's helpful to have is as many plans as you need for the different kinds of days you're going to have. But for people who want to really push themselves at times, you're going to have what I call performance day routines and then
Okay.
recharge day routines. So some people might say those are weekdays versus weekends. Other people might say when I have a big case or big something coming up, then
Yes.
I'm, go, go, go. It doesn't really matter what day in the week it is. So you want to figure out when you need to get the most out of your brain function in your physical body. And then when are those days when you can sort of take it a little bit easier, right? And
Okay.
it's what I call the recharge days. So those look different. On the
Okay.
recharge days, you're allowing yourself a little bit more flexibility. You're creating more space for it to feel like prepare time, right? Connecting with
Sure.
others, maybe some meditation, nature exposure, walking outside, all the fun things, going to Banff, like, all of the fun stuff, right? Listening to music, things that are just not demanding to do. Those are your recharge days because internally your body's doing all sorts of really cool things to get stronger and better for the next, high stress moments. Then during the high stress moments, you want to be dialed in. That's when a lot of people make the mistake. They'll say, I need alcohol so I can sleep at night or chill out after a really stressful day. No, no, no. Those are the days. You ask any athlete, they're not like, drinking alcohol the night before the big game.
Right.
right? They're not partying hard the night before. They have to be on duty. You do that on your recharge time, like after, right? So it's very, very important to recognize what do you want your body to be able to do, and then make the choices that allow that to happen.
Love that. Love that. So tell us what patterns you've noticed from users who successfully transform their health long term, because we're
Yeah.
all looking to do the right things for our long term health.
Yeah. I mean, it always comes back to the unsexy, boring stuff, right? They're starting to really pay attention to whatever that thing is, that's the low hanging fruit for them. So is it maybe having more nights without, sugary or cocktails or, alcohol, right?
Hmm.
What is that thing? Is it having less carbohydrates as your first meal of the day, whenever that is, whether it's in the early morning or later in the day? Are you hitting your protein targets so that your body
Hmm.
has what it needs to repair? Um, all of those things, what I find is consistent across everybody is they find one thing to work on, they work on that. Then they do the next thing until it becomes easier, right? So you're layering on.
Okay.
So first, it takes effort and it's a lot of energy.
Yes.
And if you do that enough and you have enough touch points that you keep being nudged back to follow the path that you have said you want to pursue, then it becomes easier and easier and easier. Now you have your new food plans. Now you know what to shop for in the grocery store. It doesn't take you so long reading all the nutrition labels or whatever.
Yes.
You don't have to find new recipes. You already know what you like, right? So it becomes easier. Then
It's
you
like building
layer on.
habits, right? It's building habits, like habit
Exactly.
stacking. I don't know if you read that
Correct.
Atomic Habits
Correct.
book.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
all of those, it's all of that stuff is good. It's just having compassion with yourself when you do have a moment when, oops, I was off plan, right? I deviated. It's not a failure. It's not a cheat. It's a deviation.
Yeah.
That's fine. Get right back on. Right. So,
Love it. Love it.
That was a huge
yeah.
lesson for me. When we talk about supplements, cold plunges, glucose
Yeah.
monitors, peptides, blah, 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 what actually has strong evidence or science behind it?
It depends on what you mean by strong. I would say, you know, each person is very different. So at first it's like cold plunge is the best thing ever. Oh, it's more beneficial for men than for women. Like, the data keeps changing and it
Yeah.
depends on who's studying it. Think of who's doing cold plunges, right? So
Right.
the population that's testing it on themselves or in a group might not match your life or what's going on for you. So if you have a high stress life, and you're trying to do the newest, hack for your longevity, but it feels really awful and you're stressing about it and you're really not loving it, that's actually probably more harmful just because it's
Yeah.
putting you in a negative state, right?
Right.
That has consequences. That means your stress level is elevated, which dysregulates your sugars, which dysregulates your body's ability to burn fuel, which means you don't have consistent energy. I mean, it's not
So
so simple.
interesting. So you're
Yeah.
saying figure out what works for you and do that,
Yes.
which,
Talk to somebody who can help you along that journey,
Okay.
and you use that your own body as that experiment, and the guide can help make sure you stay safe. So they'll say, don't do this, or don't,
Right.
keep doing this because it sounds like it's not working for you, right? So
okay,
you
that's,
you want to do that.
Love that.
and
Love that.
can we talk a little about prevention versus
Yeah.
treatment? Because
Hmm.
I think, you talked about what works for you, and many doctors, I'm not saying all doctors, but many are
Hmm.
not like you, and they don't listen to the patient and they don't give them the grace because we're human and sometimes you want to celebrate and then you go back. So the question is, how much do we focus on prevention versus treatment? Because to your point, doctors focus on problems, but how about maybe figuring out solutions so we don't have problems? Yeah.
Yeah, so we need all of it, right? You need
Okay.
to
Hmm.
have the treatments. Thank goodness there are people who are
Sure.
doing the treatments, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a surgery. You don't want
Sure.
somebody to say
Exactly.
meditate it out, right? Like that's just not
Yeah.
appropriate,
Exactly.
right? And I don't need to study that, right? Like I
Right,
can
right,
pretty
right.
much say. So yes, I think you need all of it. And prevention is, I don't think of it as prevention. I feel like it's removing the barriers that,
Love
because
that.
again, your body is, you're not trying to prevent something, you're trying to maintain and improve
Good
something,
point.
right?
Well,
That's
excellent.
that's
Yes.
totally different. Like if I'm focused on not having diabetes, that's very different than I'm focused on living freely and having a lot of fun and, surrounding myself with people I love. And it's a very different motivation too, right? I'm super motivated for, the fun stuff. So again, I think prevention is important in the way we think about it in this society and in our medical culture. I think it's more and more doctors are wanting to find the time. That's why they often will, find situations where they can actually practice in the way that they can actually listen to their patients. So it's not that doctors don't want to listen to patients. It's the setup. The system is set up
The
oftentimes where
system.
there's not enough time. And same thing with medical education. Medical education has not gotten longer, even though we have more treatments, more options, more understanding of the human body. So there's a lot of information that needs to be crammed into a short period of time. So some things don't make it in the curriculum that should be in there. But you definitely need to know if somebody's having a heart attack and there's something you can do about it, right? Like that's something that only a doctor can do and needs to be trained. So there's some things that don't fit in. After somebody graduates, they can pursue learning more and more things. And that's what the fun part of the journey is. It's learning together with the people that we serve and the kinds of people who come and connect with us that then you can seek out. So prevention is for everybody who currently is not sick enough to be in a hospital or to require some medical treatment. They still want to stay that way. Again,
Sure.
yes, you can call it prevention, but it's also just maintain or get better, right? That's
Yeah.
really what that's
Yes.
about. And so if you're seeking that, it's going to look different because it's not always going to end up with take this pill. You know, it might be wear a continuous glucose monitor. I love the continuous glucose
Do
monitor.
you?
I
Okay.
do, absolutely.
Love that.
So I think the more we can connect the dots for people and ourselves about this is what's happening, this is, how you know what's happening. And now here are the things that you can do to change that. Look at the, metrics and they're changing and adjusting. Okay, that's working for you. Oh, that's not working for you, right? These numbers are not going in, they're not changing or they're getting worse. Okay, that gives us more data. So I love data to help inform decisions. So
Interesting.
prevention is about when you're not needing the care. It makes it easy to sort of check out and be like, I'm doing fine. I'm going to wait until I have a problem and then I'll go see a doctor. Prevention is about trying to minimize
Yes.
that.
And I love how you said this kind of offline, how it's important to find your person, your doctor, your someone to go on that. Maybe you can just share that real quickly with us because I thought that was such a
Yeah.
great point.
Yeah. So I think the most important thing people often say, well, how can I do this? How do I know? Everybody does better with a partner that helps walk the journey with them. We always
Mhm.
do better when we have somebody walking any journey with us. That's why there's support groups. That's why there's, friends. That's why there's
Yes.
communities and villages. It's easier when you have somebody else walk the journey. Now, if you walk the journey with somebody who's been there before and or has been there before with somebody else and or has trained and learned and heard the stories of so many other people who've been there before you, that's that's the way to make that smooth journey or the bumpy journey smoother, to make it more direct, to get where
Just,
you want to go without having to have all the deviations and the mistakes along the
yeah.
way,
Yeah.
right? So that's what the wise people, right? In
Yes.
villages, there's be the shaman or the elder. You go to that person so that you can get some guidance when there's so many choices or when you're overwhelmed and don't know where to go, and that makes it better. If you have someone who's following with you along your journey throughout your life, in our care model, it's the primary care physician. That person who follows with you, sometimes they miss things. Sometimes they don't guess correctly about what's going on because there's pieces of the puzzle still missing. The
Hmm.
only way to get better and better care and get better and better taking care of yourself is working with someone who learns together with you. who's curious, who wants to do the deep dive, and who wants to investigate what's going on. Let's figure this out together. And if we don't know now, we're going to know better later, right? Like we're going to keep learning.
Yes.
But if you jump around and you don't have a constant, you're constantly designing and restarting over. So it
Good
just
point.
takes longer.
I love that.
Okay.
I love that advice so much. So let's talk about what is one thing that you believe will become standard health advice in the next 10 years or so?
Well, I think it's going to be more and more clear. We have to move and we have to stay connected to other humans.
Okay.
How that gets recommended,
Executed.
whether it's
Yeah.
programs. Yeah, the execution of it is going to be the challenge,
Hmm.
but that's really it. And then as much as possible, nutrients matter, right? Like how you eat, what you eat, they do matter.
Right, right. So if somebody listening today wanted to dramatically
Mhm.
improve their health with just one change, where should they
Mhm.
start? Just one change.
Oh, just one change. It depends on where they're starting,
Okay.
right? But I'll
Okay.
tell you three buckets. So if your sleep is not good, get that sleep situation
Okay.
figured out. If your weight is not good, meaning your waistline is increasing or large, then you want to figure out your sugars. Get the sugar out of the diet,
Okay. Makes
right?
sense.
Or at least minimize it and minimize the frequency of that.
Yes.
And then if it's any kind of inflammation, joint pain, or just a longevity thing that somebody wants to work towards because they're like, yeah, I'm eating, pretty good, reasonable, and I'm sleeping okay. The movement is the number one most
Movement.
powerful signal to the body that you can do. It's more powerful than anything else.
I love that. I love that. What's great,
Yeah.
great advice. I love that so much. I think let's move into, we like to have this piece of our episode where we go into some rapid fire questions for you.
Okay. Okay.
So it's just, a few word, one or a few word answers, just to
Yep.
kind of give people little nuggets to sort of like hone in on. And so, Ricky, why don't you
Okay.
get us started?
Most underrated longevity habit.
Laughing.
Oh, I
Love
love
that.
that.
Yay, we
I was
love
going to
that
say
so much.
sleep, but I love
Yeah.
laughing. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Okay, coffee before or after food?
Well, technically, the technical answer should be after food, but for me, it's definitely before.
Okay. One health trend you'll never try, other than walking on hot coals.
Yeah, yeah. The cleanses.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting. Okay, Brenda.
wow.
Mhm.
We all want to know why, but we won't dig into
Okay.
it right now. So is it more
Yeah.
hype? I just have to ask. Is that more hype than anything?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, your body has a natural cleanse organs,
Yeah,
right? The kidney and the liver, so and the spleen. It's just not necessary.
that's a big nugget. Love that. Okay, so tell
Yeah.
us the most surprising thing you've learned about aging.
Um, it
Not
doesn't
fun.
have to be. Yeah, you know what? I disagree. If we think about it, depends again on how you think about aging. But I would not want to be as stupid as I was when I was 20 years old. Like,
Good point.
no way, right? So it depends. But the most surprising thing about aging is how different it can be, and you can change the course at any time.
I love
And that I
that.
Brilliant.
think
I
is
Oh,
love
I
really
love
that.
that.
different.
That's amazing. What's your favorite healthy snack?
Depends on the mood I'm in. So it might be like edamame with some good flaky salt on it.
Ooh,
It could be like yogurt with berries and
love it.
walnuts or something, right? Or a really dark chocolate.
Oh.
Perfect. Love those options. Okay, sleep, nutrition,
Mhm.
exercise. Which one's the hardest for people to optimize?
Wow. Well, listening from as a bystander to people, as a sidekick for people,
Yeah.
I would say the hardest that people feel like they have the hardest time with is probably, oh, I don't know. That's a tough one. I would say they probably come to me because of the nutrition component is being the hardest. Exercise, getting started for somebody who's not
Okay.
already exercising, I would say is the other one.
Okay, great.
And
Ricky?
what's the one thing you wish everybody knew about metabolic health?
It's in your control.
Ooh,
And
okay.
it's not always, a lot of people think as you get older, the metabolic health is just like that's the default. It's actually not. That's not the
Oh,
default.
so there's hope. And
There's
what's your
hope.
not what's your
Mhm.
non-negotiable daily habit?
Protein at the first meal.
Interesting. And one wellness product that you genuinely love.
Oh, wow. I have so many. But I really, really love my adjustable dumbbells.
Ah, that's cool.
Oh, cool.
Love it.
Okay.
Okay, so our last question. If we invited you back 10
Hmm.
years from now,
Hmm.
what do you hope people will finally understand about longevity that they're missing today?
Um, Longevity is ingrained in each human, regardless what your genetics are.
Okay.
So it's everybody has the opportunity to have what I call a good long life with a good quality of life, right? And so longevity looks different for each person. So I hope people realize that there's a lot of things you can do to have that kind of longer, healthier lifespan that you are aiming for.
Mhm.
And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. You can have great genes and you can be hit by a bus, right? Like that,
Right.
things happen. So do what you can. So I hope in 10 years people are like, this, it's just a natural part of life that we're all just doing the things possible that help us have the best life possible for as long as
That.
possible.
Oh, I love that.
Love it so much. Wow, I could talk to you all day. I thank you so much, Dr. Parrella, for sharing. Wow, your incredible insight and your knowledge. Amazing. And for our listeners, I hope this conversation gave you a fresh perspective on longevity and reminded you that living well for longer doesn't always require extreme routines or expensive wellness trends. And it just comes back to consistency and awareness and really taking care of the basics. And that's really what we've learned today.
And I want to thank Dr. Naomi Parrella from Zero Longevity, sharing your insights, helping us better understand the connection. We have a lot of work to do, obviously, between metabolic health, fasting, and aging well. And if this episode resonated with you, please send it to a friend, share it on social media, leave us a review. We want to read all of them, and it truly helps more people understand and share the show. And if you haven't already, make sure you follow us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss an episode.
And thank you all so much for listening to Chatterbox Besties with Brenda and Ricky and for being part of our bestie circle. Until next time, take care of yourself and remember the goal isn't just adding years to your life, it's adding life to your years. Thank you so much, Dr. Parrella. We
All right,
love
thank
you
you.
all, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Hi there. This podcast is purely for entertainment purposes. We're your besties sharing our perspectives with you.